Okay. Um, Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining. I know people are still joining. It's all good. Thank you so much for joining us this day. Rob, good to see you. Uh, Welcome to this session on the Generative AI for Educators course and certification. This is going to be interesting. We're going to go over what the course entails. So again, we're not going to take the certification today. We're going to go over what to expect, and yes, the expectations that you will do it when you are free. All right, so let's begin. Thank you everybody for joining us. So who's on this call? Hello everyone, my name is Santi. I created this company, Project Recess, and we have been supporting New York City Public Schools for over 10 years now, which is wild. The time flies when you are, delivering PD. So we've been working with New York City exclusively for that long, and we are a Google for Education partner. Shout out to anybody that remembers HRTC out in Harlem, that photo. We've been helping a lot of people leverage Google tools, and for the past few years, artificial intelligence has really changed the conversation around every industry, particularly education. So we also support schools in developing AI guidance and training. Definite memories there. You're gonna get a CTLE. You'll get a CTLE hour for this session. And if anybody's interested in partnering with us, again, we are a contracted professional development provider. So feel free to reach out. All right. Yeah, in the past few years, we've partnered with Google and other organizations on different AI projects. All this to say, it's still very much the Wild West, and we're all learning how to use these tools. I love hearing from educators on like how you are using it. So I want this session to be as casual as possible. Feel free to answer questions or post questions in the chat. Tracy is here supporting the chat. She's going to help with the questions, any of the logistical things. Tracy, thank you. Again, welcome. Feel free to put in the chat what school you're representing. And I want to kick it off with a question. Again, I want this to be interactive. So that being said, please share your answer in the chat. Please tell us about a technology that you thought was all hype at first, but has now won you over. All right, so think about it. Please put it in the chat. Oh, is there a question? Oh, or maybe not. Yes, please put it in the chat to give you an idea of what kind of questions, what kind of answers that we get from this. I was never a big fan of smartwatches, but after having kids, I realized a smartwatch is a great way to find my missing phone and radio to my wife that I need diapers, there's a blowout, etc. So AirTags, Tracy, thank you. Apple Pay, Ashley, yes. I don't even carry my wallet around much anymore. Only if I know I need my ID. Yes, VR headsets, very cool, Rob. Thank you. The thumb ID print now for Face ID. Yeah, absolutely. You don't gotta worry about a manual passcode anymore. Bluetooth. Bluetooth, thank you, Albert. That Bluetooth has really changed everything in terms of being wireless. The internet, yes, absolutely. I know some people have shared in the past indoor plumbing or the air fryer is a popular one. Feel free to share. But these are great. Thank you everybody for sharing these technologies that you thought was all hype, but now has won you over. Smart washing machines, that's a thing too. So yes, I want everybody to sort of, I ask this question so everybody sort of gets in the right mindset, this idea of unexpected value, this idea that, our ideas, our feelings can change. And I bring this up because many people, believe AI is all hype, but every day I feel like I'm seeing like a really good use case of it. And that relates to what we're doing now in regards to this certification program. All right, so let's continue. So expectations for today's webinar. So again, today is going to be an overview of what this Gen AI course is all about. Our hope is that you take the course on your own time. All right, so today we're going to make you give you some information to familiarize yourself with what to expect. And I hope folks do take this certification and obtain that certification. So you could go through the course and at the end, there's an optional assessment where you get a certificate. More information on that coming up soon. Overview of this course, this Generative AI for Educators course. So the primary audience, high school and middle school educators of any subject, no technical experience required, which is great. Yeah, I have very limited technical experience when it comes to using AI tools. And really, any teacher who's interested in using AI to save time and enhance student education could benefit from this. So even if you don't teach high school or middle school, if you are an educator that is interested in these tools, you will benefit from this course. I'm a big fan of how this course is designed. It was created by Google and MIT. So you know those are two legitimate institutions in this field, and they really did a great job interviewing teachers and making sure that the content of this course is relevant for those who are teaching. Amen. K5, that still works because you can still use this for, for your teaching and learning, for your administrative tasks. All right. So what happens? Why would you take this course? So by the end of this course, you will be able to identify ways Gen AI can assist your professional practice. You'll be able to get a better understanding of writing prompts for an AI tool and evaluate the output. And you'll be able to get a better understanding of creating classroom resources using an AI tool. And notice that I keep on saying AI tool. I'm not naming anything specific. Sandra, shout outs to Magic School, another really great tool also. What I love about this course, this generative AI course, even though it's created by Google and MIT, you can take what you learn from it and apply it to any AI tool, be it ChatGPT, Claude, Magic School, or Google Gemini, okay? They all work similarly enough where the things that you learn from this course, you can apply to virtually any AI tool, okay? So there's some percentages here in regards to like how people feel about this course. So overwhelmingly, participants expect to save 2 hours a week plus using Gen AI tools. And after taking this course, overwhelmingly, people felt confident in their ability to use Gen AI in the classroom. All right. So again, ChatGPT came out a little over 2 years ago, which is wild because again, it's changed the conversation around everything. Again, it's still very much new. We're still learning how to use it. So if you are an educator that's interested in saving time, and really who's not interested in that, these tools can really do that. All right. This course is divided into these sections: intro, AI tools and responsible use, strategies, bringing AI into your practice, and then planning your next steps. Again, it's all designed pretty well, and it should take about 2 hours to complete, if not less. And you don't have to do it in one sitting. I think that's in the next slide here. Yeah, so this is designed to get everybody feeling comfortable and excited about using these AI tools. All right. So what's interesting is that this course does not talk about how to use AI with your students per se, like having them use an AI tool. The focus of this course is how do you as an educator, how do you familiarize yourself with making sure you are an expert in using these tools for differentiation, etc. If you are interested in using AI with your students, I do have resources that I'm going to share with you all, free curricula, free lesson plans on how to integrate AI. So we're going to keep coming back to this idea of saving time. That is one of the, if not the main reason why I get excited about using these AI tools. I see myself that I'm saving a lot of time in terms of, modifying an email or helping draft a certain proposal or et cetera. So these things can really help give you back something that we can never, get back: time. All right. As I mentioned, it can be completed in 2 hours or less. And again, tool agnostic. Um, you can apply the information you get from this course to any AI tool. Again, be it Google Gemini, ChatGPT, what have you. They all work similarly enough, and this course will help you navigate those tools. All right. So focus on the skill, not a tool. I've heard this car analogy when talking to people about this course. So if you think back to when you all took driver's ed, maybe you have some native New Yorkers here who never took driver's ed. Respect to you. If you did take driver's ed, when you take that course, you're not really learning how a carburetor works, how the axles are positioned, etc. Technical things. You don't learn that. You learn how to drive a car use the steering wheel, the pedals, etc. And you can apply that knowledge to virtually any car, all right? Most cars. Same idea here. You learn these skills on how to use an AI tool, how to evaluate the output, and you can take that to any AI tool. So it's pretty cool. Yes, Rob, there's a certification at the end, or an assessment, and it's right here. Perfect timing. At the end of the course, there's an assessment. There's an optional 12-question assessment. And after you take it, which I hope you take it, you have to pass with an 80% or higher. Yes, you can take it more than once. If you don't make that 80%, and then once you pass it, you get a legitimate certificate that you can put on your LinkedIn, your email signature, your resume, what have you. This Generative AI for Educators certificate. All right. So getting it, yeah, free 99. My favorite price too. So getting into how this course is structured, AI has been around for more than 2 years, right? It's been around longer than ChatGPT. We use AI all the time, and we have been for a very long time. So this course helps you understand that yes, there's generative AI, but there's also other types of AI that we've been using, for example, in online shopping, etc. And like I really love this framing because it makes you realize that AI is really ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So for example, the farming and agriculture thing, it makes you realize that farmers use AI to identify invasive species before they cause extensive crop damage, which is pretty cool, and then you learn these things when you take this course. So that's pretty cool. Let's explore the course. What does this look like? All right. Let me put a link in the chat. Accessing the course. Feel free to follow along or not. Okay. Feel free to just follow along here with us. So access to the course. I'm going to send that, and I'm going to pin this to the chat. All right.
Just in case you don't know, anything that's pinned will be at the top of the chat, so you
Yes.
can get it quickly and easily.
Thank you, Tracy. So that's the link to the course, and you do have to sign in with your Google account. So if we click on this, I recommend. So people ask, do I sign in with my at schools account or something else? Typically, when we've offered our sessions on Google level 1, level 2, typically we recommend people signing in with your personal account, just in case that maybe you decide to leave teaching and finally, open up that restaurant that you've been thinking about. I just don't want you to lose access to, this certification or the progress you made. So to be safe, we recommend you signing in with your personal account. If you believe that you are an at schools lifer, by all means, sign in with that account too. All right. So this is the course. You click on it. It takes you here. And then this is it. So you start clicking on these different areas of the exam or the course, and then you answer it. So this pre-survey, very short, but there's some questions here. And a question that I wanted to pose to the group to continue this idea of interactivity. So I think I have a slide on it. So this is a question from the pre-survey. What is your current perception of generative AI? If you feel inclined, please share in the chat your answer. I'll give you a minute, but think about it. What is your current perception of generative AI? It's been around for 2 years. We've seen how it's affecting, again, every industry, not just education. Well, what is your current perception of it right now? Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you, like me, cautiously optimistic? If you feel inclined, please share in the chat. What is your current perception of generative AI? Oh, okay. Lauren, hey, good question. What's the difference? Okay, so generative AI, this is good feedback for me. I'll be more explicit next time. So AI has been around for a long time. AI is included in like Siri, Google Home, Spotify, but generative AI is this thing that creates something for you, like ChatGPT, like Magic School. Generative AI you ask it for something and it'll create a lesson plan. It'll create images. It'll make music if you ask it to. All right. So the keyword is generative, generating something new from AI. Lauren, thank you. Thank you for that. Jennifer avoided it until now. Excited to learn more? Hey, now is a good time, Jennifer. Now is a good time. Rapidly evolving, time saver. Yes, people are scared of, absolutely. Lauren, Diffit. I was working with a teacher yesterday, and they talked about Diffit. That's awesome. That's cool that you're using it. If folks aren't familiar, and correct me if I'm wrong, Diffit is an AI tool that helps with like leveling text. It changes the complexity of text. If you're working with students that might not be as strong readers. So yeah, that's a pretty cool app. Time saver. Thank you, Sandra. Feel like a negative perception. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a huge conversation, Ming. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Yes, new and unsure of using it. Yes, yeah, absolutely. This is awesome. And Tracy's sharing some other tools. Thank you so much. So that's part of the exam. Again, like making sure that we are thinking about like what is generative AI. All right. So again, let's dive into the course. Luis, thank you so much for that. It can be very helpful. So here's another section of the course. How does this work? So it says here, investigate the potential of AI in your practice. So it gives you some background. And then it says, read an educator's story, right? So in this particular example of the course, it talks about a high school music teacher. It gives you some context, and it says, I love using AI to create templates to make these tasks quicker and easier so I can focus on making music. Again, we're going to keep coming back to this idea that if you use AI tools in an appropriate way, you will save time. The truth is, you're only spending a certain amount of time on a task, right? So let's say you had to make, as a teacher, you had to make a template or like a rubric or something. Maybe you'd spend an hour or two on it. Do you want to spend an hour starting from scratch, or do you want to spend an hour starting with something that's already good and then making it great and tailoring it to your specific audience, making sure it has your voice, right? So it does save a lot of time in that way. Okay, so moving on. What's interesting about using this or this particular section, so it gives you context, and then you have these animated GIFs on how somebody's using an AI tool. So in this example, they're using Gemini. So I love seeing people's reactions when they're using an AI tool for the first time. And then they ask like, build a lesson plan or build a rubric, and then it just like makes it in 2 seconds. Yeah, it's very much like magic. So what's interesting is that, like, yes, you have this demonstration of how that works, but then the next section is the actual prompt that they use. Okay, so right there it says, acting as a high school music teacher, create a welcoming newsletter template. So you could copy that, right, and then go to any AI tool of your choice. All right, so I already have Gemini open, and yes, disclaimer, Gemini is still going through the IRMA process, so it's not available currently to New York City Public Schools. But I do recommend people test it out using your personal accounts because it's a powerful tool. There are other approved AI tools out there. We cover that in other sessions, but just for this example, I copied that prompt and I put it in Gemini. Again, I highly recommend people test it out using your personal account. So how does this work? Okay, so I copied that prompt from the course. I put it in Gemini. I hit enter, and then it already creates a newsletter here, right? That's pretty interesting. But the thing is, you'd be lazy if you just like take that, right? Like you want to go back and forth with it. Like these are chatbots, you want to chat with it. I personally think the best people who interact with AI chatbots, some of the best users are teachers, because teachers know the right questions to ask. They know how to interact with someone. They are experts in their domains. So when you're interacting with a tool like that, like you will end up getting a response that you can use for your class. All right. So again, going back to the course, that was a prompt that I copied. And then if you wanted to, even if you didn't want to use an AI tool when going through this course, if you click on this, explore the output, it gives you an example of what the output would be using an AI tool. So you would pretend to hit enter on the prompt, and then you would get this, all right, to give you an idea of what that looks like. Okay. So let's go back to the slide deck here. And then I wanted to talk about something else. So one of the ways that this course is interactive, you have this thing here called Make It Stick. So what does that look like? So again, in the course, you'll get to this section. And then here, it says, you're discovering 3 essential ways AI can support your teaching practice: time savings, differentiation, and lesson enhancement. Now take a moment to assign each of the following tasks to the correct category. So how this works is, it's here. It says generate email templates. You click and drag, right? So generate email templates using AI. Would that be something that would go under time savings, differentiation, or lesson enhancement? If you feel inclined, feel free to put it in the chat. So generate email templates, would that be time savings, differentiation, or lesson enhancement? All right. Okay, I'm seeing people see time. Thank you so much. All right. So let's just say I put it in differentiation, even though overwhelmingly people are saying time savings. If I put it here, all right, so you get feedback that it's not correct. All right, time savings, generating email templates, definitely time savings. All right, done. Wonderful. Next one, adapt a reading level based on student needs. What would that fall into? Time savings, differentiation, lesson enhancement. Again, if you feel inclined, go ahead and put in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, people are quick on the keyboard right now. All right, so let's put that in differentiation. Yes, it works. Okay. And then for giggles, right? Okay, create diagrams, charts, or other visuals to complement an activity. Where would that be? Da 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 da. Everybody's typing it in. All right. Yes, thank you. Lesson plan enhancement. Okay. What's great about this is that it gives you ideas of how you can use AI, right? I personally have used AI tools to help me with email templates. I've used it to help me or show teachers how to differentiate their existing resources and curriculum to the specific needs of their students. This all comes back to, yes, saving time, but also making it easier and quicker to really differentiate for your students, which is amazing using these free tools. All right. So let's continue. In addition to the course, there are resources that participants get. Resources on how to write a prompt, a responsibility checklist, a prompt library, and a glossary. So real quickly, let's go through these. This is a guide to AI in education from Google, how they are approaching AI. Again, I'm going to share this recording as well as the resources, the slide deck with everybody here on the call. Even if folks didn't make it, I have your emails. Thank you for registering. I'm going to email everybody the resources, so don't worry about it. But yeah, this is a guide to how Google approaches AI in education. This glossary I think is super helpful because there are a lot of terms that I'm not familiar with that people are using now around AI. So just like a quick example of what this looks like. So this is 2 sheets. You could share this with your students if you wanted. All right. So definitions of algorithm, AI tool, chain of thought, hallucination. If anybody has not heard that recently, it's good for you, because I feel like I hear this term all the time when you're hearing about AI. In the context of AI, a hallucination is any inaccurate or misleading output from an AI tool. So you have to be vigilant about that as an educator. These AI tools work fantastic. At the same time, they can generate false information and give it to you in a confident way. So you want to be aware of hallucinations. That is something that's underscored in this course. Yes, AI is a huge time saver. At the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because these things can be used to create misinformation or things that just aren't true. All right. So hallucination is a very important term that I think we're going to be hearing even more about as educators using these tools. All right. So what other tools what other resources here? Responsibility checklist. again, you could share these with your students. But ultimately, this is more about like how you use AI as a teacher. All of these things come down to the same thing. It's like you as a human being, you as a teacher, you as somebody who has knowledge in this content, you're the expert, okay? These AI language models, yeah, they're trained on a lot of information, but at the end of the day, you know, they can hallucinate, they can give you false information. So you have to check the output. There's a lot of bias that's put into these tools because it's trained. How are these things trained? These tools like ChatGPT, they're trained on every piece of writing on the internet. And if you think about that, that's mind blowing. That's every news article, every blog post, every published book online, everything. That's why these tools seem to know everything, because it's taking this information and becoming sort of like a very sophisticated predictive text answering your prompt. All right, so it's very important to review the AI outputs. So that's part of that resource. And going back to this idea of a prompt, so this is how you interact with a tool. A prompt is like how you're asking, you know, a question to this AI tool. And on this course, they're recommending this acronym, this framework, PARTS, and that's persona, aim, recipients, theme, and structure. There's information on there, but all this to say, the more specific you get with your prompt, the better the output's going to be. It's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you're using an AI tool and you say, generate a lesson plan on math, it's going to do it, but it's not going to be relevant to you, because you want to make sure that you're inputting what grade you teach, what kind of math you want to focus on, how long is the lesson. So the more you use these things, the more you'll get better at being specific and providing context. And you'll learn all those things in this course. All right. Prompt library to give you an idea of what a good prompt looks like. All right. Sometimes just seeing the prompts is helpful. All right. Developing activity. Again, you want your learning objectives, you want your grade level, clear instructions, etc. Okay. And then if you want to continue learning about AI, I have some links here for everybody, bringing AI to your students. So this is what I was talking about. If folks are interested in using AI tools with your students, these are some resources. Day of AI is a really great website that has curriculum right here for students. There's example AI policies. I believe every school should have their own specific AI policy, because the reality is that students are using these tools, right? Doesn't matter what grade you're in, like they're experimenting with them. So there should be a policy in place. Like, yes, there's some guidance from central, but you do need to tweak it and make it more specific to your school and your student body. So we have some examples here. Again, I'll share these resources with everyone. And finally, this is what the certificate looks like. Highly recommend taking the course. 2 hours. You don't have to take it in one sitting, and you get this legitimate course. All right. Upcoming news and events. AI Literacy Day is coming up on Friday. There's a bunch of different PD happening on Friday. I personally don't like hosting things on Friday because I want to be respectful of people's time. So when everybody zigs, I zag. I'm doing something on Thursday. I'm gonna put the link to this in the chat. So what's interesting about this PD? So I'm gonna send this right here. Please register if you feel inclined. Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. virtual. It's all about Gemini. Again, currently in process in the IRMA approval process for use for all New York City public school staff. Hoping that'll complete soon. But I think it's important for us to learn how to use these tools. If you can believe, Google Classroom is 10 years old. And I personally believe Google Classroom has really changed everything. How we organize our, how we interact with our students online, how we, create resource hubs for our classes. Google Classroom was a game changer, right? Who remembers Blackboard? Let me know in the chat if you remember Blackboard. I use it. I use it in college. I hated it. Everybody hate. Okay, there's a question. Lauren, yes, I'll take your question. What's up?
Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button.
Oh, okay. No problem, no problem. Rob, yeah, Blackboard was horrible, but then Google Classroom came out, and it's like, man, this is what Classroom is what Blackboard should have been, and it really changed everything. I personally believe Gemini, which is Google's AI chatbot, I think it has the same potential for education. So again, currently in the IRMA approval process, I just want to show people during this PD how to leverage Gemini to save time, help you with your resources. So please feel free to register for that. It should be cool. Danita Morgan, if you know her from Google, she'll be on the presentation with me. Lastly, all right, CTLE. All right, I'm here to save you time. Also, I'm gonna paste a link in the chat to request CTLE hours. Okay, here it is. Please, let's take a minute to answer it now. It's pinned in the chat. People at this point, people ask me what the name of the PD session is. This is the name of the session. So let's take a minute. If you need CTLE hours, put it in there. How Google Classroom will upgrade when it's integrated with Gemini. Dude, I think we're all interested in knowing. But since there's a little bit of time left, all right, since you're filling out your CTLE hours, I want to give everyone just a little preview of Gemini, just a little taste of how it works. All right, so all the links are in the chat. I'm just going to give you a preview, okay? So I'm going to switch my screen. So again, this is Gemini. It's currently not enabled for New York City, but it's currently in process with IRMA. So fingers crossed. Highly recommend you testing this out in your personal account. Obviously, don't put any personal information in there. But just to give you an idea of how this works, let me borrow a prompt from the course here. All right, this is one of my favorite additions to Gemini that came out recently. So traditionally, and you can still do this, I can put in this prompt, right? All right, acting as a high school music teacher, blah, blah, blah. I hit enter. It gives me the thing. That's essentially how these chat programs work. It's like texting with a chatbot. Let me open up a new chat, okay? I'm going to do the same thing, but what I'm going to do differently, there's a button down here that says Canvas. And to me, this is a game changer. If I click Canvas, it's highlighted blue, and then I hit enter, there's two screens now. And now it creates the AI generated content in one screen, and then you have your chat on the other. I know it's a very simple UI change, but to me, it's a game changer because you can see in real time the changes. So if I'm looking at this, maybe I'm like, this is too formal, make it more casual and add a joke in there. All right, so I add that. It's gonna update it in real time in that window. Okay. This is interesting. That looks like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a music joke or not, but I can go in here. I can modify it, right? Springfield Elementary. And then you can go back and forth. Rob, thank you. It is crazy. It is crazy because you can see it in real time and talk about making it easier. There's a button here that says export to docs. If I click on that, boom, brings you to a Google Doc already. All right. So you don't have to copy and paste. It's there. Look, it has your document tabs already, your table of contents. So this is a taste of Gemini. This is what I'm going to go over during the session on Thursday. All right. Please test it out with your personal accounts. You have access to it. To me, like if and when this does get approved for New York City teachers, game changer. I think this is going to be a game changer in terms of how we work,
And Santi, sorry, I'm a big fan of Canvas, people, the new Gemini app, because I can then say, oh, create me lesson plans for this, create me resources, create me a student rubric, and it's all in that one space. I don't have to go back and search multiple conversations. It's fantastic.
Check this out. I want to build a website for my classroom. Help me do that. Garbage prompt, but I just want to show an example. Not only can these things make lesson plans, etc. If I hit enter, And if this doesn't blow your mind, these things can code. There's this new concept out. Yeah, exactly. Look, there's this new look. I just made a website in 10 seconds, if not less. I can click I can look at this. Look at this. These links are live. The code's in. I can click on code. Guy, this is mind blowing. So this right here, there's an article on this from the New York Times. People call this vibe coding because you're just going with the vibes, right? You're just typing in. The language is English. I want to make a class website that feels like this, that looks like this, that has these colors. If you don't know how to code, no problem. You're using words. I want to put that in the chat. Hold on a second. I'll email it out. I'll email it out. But look up vibe coding. This is like the latest trend. I don't hear enough people talking about this. This is completely changing how we code now. You can make interactives that are based on your science lesson. Like this is bespoke apps on the fly. This is crazy right now. So all this to say, I'll go over this stuff on Thursday, a little bit more in depth. I highly recommend people taking this Gen AI course and certification. This is a brave new world, everybody. Yes, Luis. Gemini is not yet available for New York City Public Schools. It's going through the IRMA process. When it's going to be released, that's beyond my pay grade. I hope soon, but it's in process of being approved. If and when that happens, forget about it. Done. AI all day. But in the meantime, you don't want it to be approved and then you don't know how to use it, right? So definitely test out Gemini on your personal account, or if you still have access to your non-DOE school-based Google account, you can try it out. It's free. Yes, it's free. And yeah, it's crazy. Well, Notebook LM is another Google tool that we'll go over. An amazing tool for research. This is a thing, maybe you've heard of it. You can take your AI content and then make an auto-generated podcast. Wild stuff. Tracy, yes.
Sorry, and the one thing I discovered with Notebook LM today is you can actually tell it to create you a mind map. Yeah. You put your content in and ask it to create you a mind map on it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's nuts. It's nuts. So this is, again, I think these are all game-changing tools for teachers on saving time and personalizing your resources, etc. Anyway, all right, folks, thank you for joining us. I'm going to end early because I'm going to encourage people to go look at the course, experiment with Gemini. If you need CTLE hours, the link is in the chat. If you have a question, I'll hang around for a little bit. Thank you so much for spending time with me at the end of your busy day. I appreciate it. And I will email everybody the resources. Have a good evening. Thank you.